Respectfully to NLE Choppa, I would just like to know, are you talking gangster shit that you want to get into it with this niggas? Because I ain't gonna lie to you. I think YoungBoy is attracted to niggas that's down to kill and die. I'm gonna be honest. YoungBoy's attracted to niggas who's down to kill and die. He's still on that. Not saying he's sanctioning nothing, but those are the people he likes to surround himself with. I don't think NLE Choppa is talking that energy. I think he's talking about artistically.
NLE Choppa just dropped another diss toward NBA YoungBoy, and at this point, the whole situation is starting to look embarrassing. This Memphis rapper who once praised YoungBoy as his favorite artist is now tossing subtle shots every few weeks, and fans are starting to catch on to why. Behind the spiritual branding, viral dances, and motivational talk, Choppa has watched his numbers slide while YoungBoy continues to dominate effortlessly. And once he realized controversy brings more attention than positivity, he locked onto the one name guaranteed to generate views, YoungBoy. But the real story about how a former superfan became one of YoungBoy's loudest online rivals is deeper than petty DISSES. It involves industry politics, old friendships breaking apart, contract issues, and a hunger for relevance that fans say feels more desperate than dangerous. What's good, fam? Let's break down what's actually been happening, not the surface-level drama, but the story underneath that most people missed. October 2025, the turning point. Choppa drops KO, a random YoungBoy diss out of nowhere, shocking fans because the two hadn't publicly beefed in years. But this wasn't street tension. This was strategy. Choppa's recent numbers have been rough, streaming charts, YouTube views, social media engagement, all slipping. Meanwhile, YoungBoy continues pulling tens of millions with little promotion. Choppa realized quick that controversy works better than consistency, and YoungBoy's name is a guaranteed algorithm booster. But to understand why this is happening, you gotta go back to the beginning. 2018. NLE Choppa was a 15-year-old Memphis kid trying to break into the industry, and NBA YoungBoy wasn't just an influence, he was Choppa's favorite rapper, period. He studied him. He mirrored the energy. He even built his early sound around the same raw, emotional aggression that connected YoungBoy to millions. He remixed YoungBoy's flows. He adopted the same three-letter branding style, NLE mirroring NBA. He publicly listed YoungBoy as one of his top inspirations in interviews. This wasn't secret. This was documented fan admiration. Then came the first crack in the friendship. Early 2019, during an Instagram Live, some people around Choppa started talking reckless about YoungBoy, questioning his authenticity, saying things most fans considered disrespectful. Choppa tried to calm them down, telling his crew to chill, but the damage was already done. YoungBoy heard the disrespect, responded on his own live, and made it clear he didn't appreciate the talk. Choppa immediately went back online trying to smooth things over, reminding everyone YoungBoy was his favorite rapper and that he wanted to work with him. But once a line is crossed with YoungBoy, trust is hard to rebuild. That moment planted the seed for long-term tension. Then came more confusion. When YoungBoy got locked up later that year, Choppa dropped Free YoungBoy, a song that fans took as a genuine show of support. It looked like the two were cool again, at least publicly. But behind the scenes, things were shifting. A situation in Houston involving Quando Rondo and people from Choppa's circle added more tension. Different sides told different versions, and fans filled in the blanks with speculation. Nobody knows the full truth, but it created another layer of distance between the camps. From that point on, the relationship was never the same. Fast forward to 2025, and Choppa needed a spark. His positive image rebrand wasn't hitting the numbers. His viral dances weren't translating to album sales. The motivational speeches weren't moving streams. So he pivoted back to the one thing guaranteed to make headlines in hip-hop, dissing NBA YoungBoy. Reaction channels lit up. Hip-hop blogs jumped on it. Fans debated every bar. The algorithm rewarded the chaos. Choppa saw the engagement spike, and doubled down. But instead of looking threatening, fans say it's starting to look obsessive. The former fan, turned supporter, turned neutral acquaintance, has now positioned himself as YoungBoy's loudest critic, and most of the internet sees it as a desperate grasp for attention. Security stepped in and broke up the situation, but the fallout was already massive. both for the guy who got hit and for any chance of peace between camps. Quando Rondo went live almost immediately afterward, bragging about what happened and claiming the injuries were bad enough to need stitches from the forehead down to the nose. He even taunted Choppa online, offering money for him to post a photo of the injured homie, a move fans saw as pure trolling. But the most shocking twist? After all the tough talk and public energy, screenshots surfaced showing Choppa messaging Quando privately, trying to keep things cool. In the messages he wrote something along the lines of, "I don't know if you rock with me or not, but keep shining and stay safe." And in hip-hop, and especially in the streets, you can be neutral with someone who's beefing with your associates. To many fans, it looked like Choppa was trying to play both sides, publicly connected to YoungBoy, while privately being cordial with YoungBoy's rivals. Things got even more complicated when Choppa started getting close with King Von and Lil Durk's circle. This wasn't surface-level industry networking. People online pointed out that Choppa and Von were often together, gaming, joking around, and bonding while both were on house arrest. So when Von was tragically killed in 2020 after an incident involving people from Quando Rondo's crew, Choppa posted emotional tributes and referred to Von as brother. That loyalty didn't go unnoticed. January 2022, everything blew up. YoungBoy dropped his Colors mixtape along with the track Bring the Hook, where he took shots that many interpreted as dissing King Von. The bars were harsh, and the reaction was immediate. DJ Academics tweeted that YoungBoy was on Demon Time, while Lil Reese responded saying it wasn't Demon Time, just regular rap. And here's where Choppa made the move that changed everything. He replied to Reese's tweet saying, "I stamp that." To the internet, that wasn't just an opinion. That was seen as publicly siding with Chicago against Baton Rouge, right in the middle of a dangerous feud. 2 days later, YoungBoy released Know Like I Know, and fans instantly recognized the song as a direct response. This wasn't typical rap sparring. This sounded personal. In the track, YoungBoy referenced Choppa's admiration for him, mocked his lifestyle changes, and even brought up past relationships tied to his camp. The tone was cold, sharp, and emotional, almost like he was speaking directly to him. Fans were especially stunned at the darker lyrics, where YoungBoy sang in that eerie melodic tone about wanting someone's soul, which many believed was aimed at Choppa. Whether meant metaphorically or literally, the message felt threatening. To the public, it looked like YoungBoy was using psychological pressure as much as lyrical ability, and the effect was immediate. Choppa went quiet. No responses. No subs. Just silence. But the tension didn't stop with just the music. YoungBoy's lyrics touched on Choppa's cars, his social media presence, even his mother, who plays a key role in managing his career. The message was clear: YoungBoy was paying attention to everything, and no part of Choppa's public life felt off limits. What really had fans talking was the interlude where YoungBoy questioned why Choppa's parents hadn't stepped in to pull him away from the conflict. When someone starts mentioning your family's peace of mind, that's when the situation feels truly serious. For anybody who doesn't understand how the industry moves, let's break it down. When an artist with YoungBoy's fanbase and intensity sends a diss like that, you realistically get 3 routes: respond immediately, accept the L quietly, or vanish from the back and forth altogether. Choppa chose the third route, and stayed silent for 2 full years. And honestly, that silence spoke louder than a response ever could. If he were really committed to the confrontation, he would have fired back. Instead, he stepped out of the spotlight, leaned into his spiritual rebrand, promoted clean eating, meditation, and positive energy, basically the complete opposite of the persona he had built early in his career. This phase clearly showed how deeply the situation affected him. His entire public presence shifted. The guy who once leaned heavily on tough talk and street-coded messaging suddenly appeared focused on healing and personal growth. A lot of fans respected the evolution, but it also created questions about whether he was distancing himself out of inspiration or fear. Meanwhile, YoungBoy never slowed down. His momentum kept building, his audience kept growing, and he didn't mention Choppa again. And low-key, that silence might have been more damaging for Choppa than another diss ever would have been. Now here's the part that feels extremely calculated when you look at the timeline. In 2024, out of nowhere, Choppa suddenly remembers this supposed rivalry. But look at the context. YoungBoy had just wrapped his Ma I Got a Family tour. Reports online claimed it pulled in staggering revenue, with packed arenas all over the country. His name dominated social media trends, his videos continually racked up massive numbers, and he was easily one of the most talked about artists in the entire genre. Choppa, on the other hand, wasn't seeing the same results. His recent drops earned mixed reactions, his streaming numbers dipped, and he couldn't recreate the cultural explosion he had with Shotta Flow, no matter how many sequels or remixes he released. And the numbers didn't lie. His latest songs were barely scraping 1 million views while YoungBoy consistently hit tens of millions. The comment sections were active, reaction channels were posting within hours, social media lit up, all because he invoked YoungBoy's name. Data doesn't lie, and KO probably got more engagement in its first week than several of his previous singles combined. Controversy drives the algorithm, and Choppa clearly realized that aiming at YoungBoy was the fastest way back into public conversation. Then came Hello Revenge. All the dramatic dance routines, biblical references, and theatrical choices couldn't mask the fact that this was engineered controversy. Choppa tried to frame it as something spiritual and symbolic, quoting scripture, leaning into a heaven versus evil theme. But the over-the-top presentation made it feel more like an expensive attempt to stir drama than an artistic revelation. The lyrics took obvious jabs at YoungBoy, but the delivery was so stylized that many listeners couldn't take the shots seriously. And when Choppa started putting up billboards in Baton Rouge, fans immediately recognized it as an attempt to spark a reaction. But YoungBoy had already addressed this type of thing in earlier music, rapping that he wouldn't respond to artists who weren't important to him. In Zero IQ, he basically shut down the idea of giving attention to anyone he sees as beneath his level. That's the harshest dismissal you can get, choosing silence as the response. Once you step back and look at the timeline, the pattern becomes obvious. First KO, then Hello Revenge right after. That's not organic beef. That's content strategy dressed up as street tension. And honestly, it highlights a larger issue in hip-hop, artists using conflict as marketing when their careers start losing steam. We're at a point in hip-hop where real conflict has taken a backseat to engineered drama built for clicks. Artists have figured out that negative attention still boosts visibility, and visibility equals streams, brand deals, and tour sales. What we're seeing now isn't street tension. It's marketing disguised as rivalry. Look at how people around the industry are reacting. YoungBoy's camp, including his mother, who's outspoken online, hasn't even treated Choppa's attempts as serious. She basically said she'd only care if the shots were coming from someone who actually mattered. Reaction channels are laughing at the whole situation, not breaking it down like real beef. Comment sections clown Choppa more than they discuss the music. Even some of his supporters are side-eyeing the strategy. And here's the reality, this approach could hurt Choppa far more than it helps him. When an artist looks like they're re-chasing someone else's spotlight instead of creating their own, fans lose respect. Authenticity is everything in this genre, and this doesn't feel authentic. The numbers back it up, too. Sure, the diss tracks get that first day hype. But it fades fast, and the buzz doesn't carry over to his regular music. It's like a sugar high, quick spike, immediate crash. When you zoom out, Choppa's story isn't about wanting smoke with YoungBoy. It's just about a former admirer realizing that the only time people talk about him is when he mentions the person he once looked up to. And that's sad when you really think about it. He went from studying YoungBoy's style and making songs inspired by him to forcing this narrative of opposition. That's not evolution, that's desperation. And there's a psychological layer here that nobody talks about. Imagine going from being someone's fan, to being threatened by them on a record, to staying silent for years because of the pressure, to suddenly trying to rekindle the conflict when your career starts slipping. That's not just a rap beef, that's an identity crisis. The bigger question is, how long can someone keep firing shots at a person who refuses to respond? Choppa's plan might give him short-term relevance, but it's not building him longevity. Eventually the audience catches on that the whole thing feels manufactured, and then he's left with nothing to stand on. YoungBoy's refusal to engage is actually the strongest statement he can make. By ignoring the situation completely, he's signaling that Choppa doesn't even register on his radar, and that silence hits harder than any diss verse ever could. This whole saga highlights the difference between real conflicts rooted in personal issues and industry beef built for views. And is there any road back to credibility once fans decide you're clout chasing? Drop your takes below, and if you want to dive deeper, check out the breakdown on screen where we go into YoungBoy's entire strategy of ignoring all this manufactured noise.